All right, hey Brian, how's it going, man?
Doing well, Blake. How are you?
Great, great. Thanks for joining me for this impromptu interview.
Yeah,
I know
no
you
problem.
weren't expecting it, but we're going to go through a couple questions and just kind of want to get a test of how it's been with Acuity and talk a little bit about your experience with the Verjure line, customer success stories, etc.
Okay.
All right, so let's see. How how do you see Verjure out in the marketplace today?
You know, I really feel like there's just a couple of brands that have real brand power, and Hort Americas has supported a couple of different lighting companies over the years, and we're really proud to be supporting Verjure with the Acuity brands. So I think it's really well respected, and I think it's being seen as a leader in the industry right now.
Can you walk us through kind of one of your success stories and you know what maybe you had a really nice installation, a grower was making more money, or can you just talk maybe give it some thought here of what was kind of that installation that you really remember and are proud of?
You know, we really appreciate our work with universities, and the Virginia Tech team recently purchased some L2000 fixtures for HPS replacement.
Nice.
And this is at the Institute of Advanced Learning and Research in Danville, Virginia. And they've got research greenhouses there. And at the ILR, you know, they don't want to spend a ton of money on trying to do this stuff because it's an institution, it's not a profit center.
Okay.
It's supported by the state of Virginia. And when we sold them these fixtures, one of their requirements or their requests was it was going to be easy to do this swap for HPS. You know, we got them the fixtures. The brackets were perfect for the trusses. Because of the plugs, the cords we were able to provide for them, it was basically a seamless installation. They said this was the easiest thing they could do. The lighting is fantastic for them. We did some light plans. We know that the uniformity is way better than what they were getting with the HPS fixtures. So the research is going to be more consistent. So that's something I'm just proud of.
Nice, nice. What kind of research do they do down there?
You know, they do a lot of different crops. Anything from leafy greens. They're growing watercress right now as a potential crop to, you know, explore marketing for the, you know, different growers in the state to be able to use that. They do some really advanced research with not only cannabis, but within a lot of optical sensing and different things like that.
Okay.
Now I don't know if that's going to be done in this particular greenhouse, but
nice.
That's the kind of work they do there.
So what is your favorite product out of the product lineup?
You know, currently, I think it is the L2000.
Okay.
You know, we've got two options with it, the 2-bar and the 3-bar. The optic on that fixture, when we put these in greenhouses, we just get such great uniformity because of the optic on it and the ability to use whether that 1,000-watt or the 600-watt fixture. We really can customize what the crop needs.
Yeah.
So we can hit the light numbers we're wanting to target, and with just fantastic uniformity that we've never been able to get with anything else.
Nice. And Hort Americas has its own design team, right?
Yes. So we've got a lighting designer who builds light plans for us, and we do that as a service to our customers.
Excellent.
And it really,
do you charge for that, or how does that
you know,
work?
we typically don't charge for it.
Okay.
If somebody's looking at purchasing lights, we include that in our project.
Okay.
If somebody wanted to come and have us do a light plan for them without that, then we might look at that. But no, we don't charge for it. It's a service we offer our customers.
Excellent.
I think it's with the asset tracking is one of the things that really came up most to me. There's just so many things that could be done with that.
Are you more interested in tracking the assets or tracking the people?
I think it's really the assets in my mind. I just think about, you know, opportunities to keep track of things and what maybe what workers are doing, but we're not tracking the worker. We're tracking the tool, or we're tracking the you know, the cart that maybe has plants on it. We want to know where that cart is, or if we're moving say in a cannabis facility, if we are moving product around, to be able to know where that product is really crucial. Keep track of a particular plant for maybe just auditing purposes, internal audits, where you could say, we're going to track this plant through the whole process, and we're going to, make sure that we understand what's happening with this particular batch, or something like that, where you're not tracking all the plants, but just a couple of select plants. I think it'd be perfect for that. Yeah, everybody's doing tags, QR codes and different things, but to have it just done in real time in the system without having to, have somebody walk around and find that.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that would be, if designed properly, I think that adds a lot of value to a system.
What has been the best thing so far about, working with Acuity and Berger, from the other manufacturers that you've worked with in the past? Is there anything that stands out that you're happy about, or makes you more confident out in the field?
You got to smile when you say, we're working with the largest lighting manufacturer in North America. It's great that it's a domestic company. We're U.S. company, all North American production, and it might not be the most recognizable name out there, but when you explain to somebody what it is and say, they're publicly traded, it just adds a lot of confidence. And that somebody's going to stand behind the warranty. That you've got long-term innovation in mind, and that it's a company that you're going to be able to grow with.
The warranty point, that that's a big one that a lot of people don't really realize how important it is, especially with this new technology entering a very harsh environment. You really want a manufacturer to back you and be able to support that if things do go wrong.
Right. You never know what's going to happen. There can always be, some bad component, but knowing that there's going to be somebody there that's still in business in 5 years when the warranty's almost up, to still stand behind it.
Very important. Very important. Definitely. How do you define the impact of lighting? Going from high pressure sodium, maybe 1,700 micromoles from the fixture or less, depending upon the age and the wear and tear. And then, some growers are wanting to go with the same line wattage, so they want 1,000 watt on the LED, but they're getting a lot more light. So how do you plan for that from a crop perspective? They've been used to growing under this light for so long. The wintertime yields and turns are kind of the same. But then when you really pack in that much light, I'm sure that there's some adjustments that you have to make and some planning, right, with the grower.
Absolutely. That was one of the biggest fears of growers from switching from HPS is, what's different? How do we manage the environment differently? What's going to happen with our crops? And so you do have to take that into consideration. You're adding just more growth. Plants are transpiring more. You've got to have better HVAC to handle some of that extra transpiration and moisture in the air at times. But you're also getting more growth. So it doesn't come at a cost. It just comes at an adjustment. If we look at, say, a greenhouse facility in a northern climate, and they're running those fixtures 18, 20 hours a day. You can only run them so much. If you get a really cloudy day, you're not able to keep up with that natural DLI that you really want. And so by having a higher output fixture, on those days that you don't need that, you can dim the fixture down and you can match and keep that DLI even, but you don't have to run them excessively long hours to maintain a consistent DLI across that whole cropping session. So you can go for a whole week and not worry about this day was extremely low DLI and we've got to try to make up for it, because you have that backup, sort of power there with those fixtures. So we definitely work with the customer to help them understand rebates that are available. We'll help them fill out the paperwork where they need that. And
is there a charge for that?
No, we don't charge for that.
Okay, because that's a lot different in the industry right now, right? Because a lot of these companies are taking a percentage of the rebate, 10, 15%. And sometimes they're incentivized by getting you the cheapest fixture, right? It might not have any quality. It might last 2 years. They don't really care because they're taking the delta, right? Oh
yeah, there's a lot of companies that aren't really lighting companies, that are rebate companies. Their job is to make money off the rebates. And they might, just sell you whatever fixture is the cheapest to get in your facility, to try to win the deal versus thinking about what's actually effective for your crops and what's going to be the best long-term product for you.
Yeah, a lot of times when I do the calculations, even with a rebate versus the amount of yield that you can get, if you go from a 1,000 watt to a 1,000 watt LED, usually there is a lot of justification to spend more money on the capital expenditure side than to save some money on the rebate and save money on the energy savings. So,
if you're replacing that HPS fixture anyway, the ROI on going to an LED with that higher output, and that better yield is definitely pretty easy story to tell.
Yeah. Hey, Jordan. Thanks for being with us today.
Mike, pleasure.
Good to see you. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your role at Hort Americas Canada?
Sure. I'm the general manager of Hort Americas Canada.
Can you tell us a little bit about, like, how did you all decide that you wanted to be a part of Acuity and just work with them, right? There's so many different manufacturers and a lot of people focus on Canada. And what made you stick with Acuity brands?
Well, I have a long history of using Acuity brands products. So
really,
okay. For sure. So maybe 15 years ago, started my career in the electrical distribution business, where we were a distributor of Acuity brand, which was already solid products, solid services. That's what I can remember, right? Mm-hmm. So I had a very good experience working with the company and selling product from Acuity brand back then. So that was just a obvious choice to partner up with you guys. Certainly the big projects are interesting, but truly, I think when I work with smaller growers, medium-sized guys, I feel like the services and the advice we can give them is more valuable sometimes. Mm-hmm. So there's few of the smallest greenhouses projects or vertical farm projects that I really enjoy, because I can have a bigger impact on their business.
Can you tell us a little bit about the challenges that a lot of the growers that you're working with face from a lighting perspective?
Yeah, from a lighting perspective, I think that energy balance in the greenhouse is something that has been challenging while the transition from the traditional technology to the digital one is going on. They need to relearn how to manage the crop, the climate, and a lot of aspects in the greenhouse when switching to the technology. Mm-hmm. Once they do, I feel like they understand that they can have more control over the lighting aspect, and that's where technology such as control, dimming, and a lot of these new these new aspects can be used to enhance the crop.
Yeah. So next follow-up question to that is, LEDs are an energy-saving light source, right, from the traditional high-intensity discharge lighting, but a lot of times, a lot of the facilities I've been in, most of the greenhouses out there are underlit.
Correct.
Right, and now you have the ability to use 1,000 watts of power with LED and deliver probably twice the amount of photons that you could with a high-pressure sodium light. Now, do you see most of the growers that you're working with just go for that line-to-line wattage replacement, or do you see them looking at energy savings and having the same output as a traditional 1,000-watt high-pressure sodium?
I think it depends. Some of them wants to make energy saving, but most of them, I think, when they run the math correctly, realize that they can use more, not necessarily more install wattage, but more lighting hours during the season to get more yield, right, out of the same crop, which seems to be a trend with LEDs. As they generate less heat, people can use those lights for a longer period of time during the year and generate more revenue. Our role is to create value between a manufacturer such as Acuity brand and the grower, right? So we have to be customer service oriented, and our customers and partner can. I hope they feel that.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at
we're
you.
Just talking. Yeah. How's it going, John?
Good. Hey,
Good to
Blake.
see you.
How you doing?
Good. Yeah. I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Hey, John. So what? We worked together about 10 years ago, right?
We've worked together for on and off, but starting about a decade ago.
Yeah, and we're back at it again, right?
Yeah, we are back at it.
So John, how did you land with Acuity Brands?
Well, a lot of that was, of course, not my decision. I think that speaking for others in the group, it's a pretty short list of companies that can handle what's necessary in terms of product development, product manufacturing, and quality control. So I don't think that as that process unfolded, there were a tremendous number of candidates. And as I've learned personally more about Acuity Brands, AYI, clearly a very stable and strong U.S. company, participating in a lot of different segments of the lighting industry, and I think interestingly enough, bringing you and some of the other folks we've met on board and into this relationship has allowed Acuity to probably ramp up on just the specifics of horticulture pretty quickly.
Can you walk us through kind of what your favorite installation was?
My favorite installation is generally an installation which involves a lot of fixtures and is in a repeated pattern.
Okay. I can think of one customer that you might be thinking about.
Are we thinking of the same customer?
I think so.
Is it Local Bounty?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Organization that very clearly understood the goals of a lighting system and communicated with us openly about what those goals were as the design process took place. A project really never ends. None of them do. And you could say a favorite part would be completing the design or completing the transactional process or watching fixtures on the trusses, lighting a crop. All of them have an interesting kind of degree of satisfaction. So as I do a project, there's probably not one specific thing that happens. It's a series of achievements, and sometimes those achievements can happen in a few months, and sometimes they happen over the course of a year or more. And I think again there becomes that you asked earlier about where do you feel most satisfied in this process, and that maybe is a reason why there isn't a single time during which you feel that way, because you may walk into a greenhouse 3 years later and see your system is still in the air and part of the process.
Yeah.
So I think that's the cool thing about construction in general.
Right.
Is your efforts go toward something which lives on.
Was there anything that you saw that was like, I can specify that, or I could use that in a project?
Well, everything that has to do with control, with wireless capabilities, that for me is very exciting. I think that's the future. And then in general lighting, obviously that is needed on every project. So there's a lot of opportunity there too. And I know Acuity can support us in that way, being the manufacturer that they are and in the position they're in.
So could you tell us a little bit about your day-to-day activities?
So I'm with Hort Americas Canada. I'm the client services manager. So basically I support with operations, with inside sales. Once an order is in place, I'm in the background doing the logistics, making sure it gets delivered in time, making sure that the client receives it in a timely manner, that they're happy with the product. All the after sale also, I'm there to support the clients. So yeah, a lot of it in the background.
Yeah. How many manufacturers do you work with?
We have a variety, a lot of partners. I would say that there's like 3 to 4 on a every week basis, main ones, but we have a lot of other partners in the background that support us also.
Excellent. You've been working with Acuity, what, for a year now?
Yep, since
just
January.
about a year. Yeah. And how has the process been?
It's been good. Obviously, with every transition, there's a adaptation period. We need to adjust. Find a new way to work with the customer service team, with the reps, and all of that. But it was a quick transition, and yes, I'm getting great service from the customer relations team at Acuity.
Is there any project that really sticks out to you as one of your favorite?
Well, in 2024, the Veg Pro project was definitely a highlight for
nice.
us. There was a lot of back and forth. I like the project that there's a lot of communication flow, that there's different parties involved also. Jordan went on the field, saw pictures, we did videos. So
Cool.
yeah, I like that project.